Hi friends, this is sort of a collective haul. I had gone to G Street Fabric during their Thanksgiving sale, and I think one of the vlogs, I just took you inside the shop just to kind of peruse, and I actually found a lot of fabric on that day when I went. So I wanted to share with you because I'm actually in the process of organizing my fabrics and was coming upon all of these and thought, oh, let me just go ahead and share them so I can put them away. So I'm gonna do them in rounds. So I'm gonna start with the knits that I found on that day. And I found these amazing like French terry fabrics. So within the $2.97 section of G Street, I believe those are dead stock fabrics. So often you'll see themes of fabrics when you're in that section. And on this particular day, tons of different French terries. And I was thinking of my daughter when I was picking these up. So I have here what I think was maybe 2 or so yards of this gorgeous like olivey green. It's a little bit lighter than olive green, but really beautiful with these white butterflies on them. And I thought it was just gorgeous. So I picked up what was available in that. And then I saw some of these tie-dyes. One of the really fabulous things on this particular day is that they were so generous with me as far as actually marking or counting how much yardage I got. So for example, in some of these French terries, they had like holes in them right in the dead center of the fabric. Like, look at that. And they were so generous. So they only counted where, you know, there wasn't a hole. So I think for all of this fabric, which actually it's quite a bit of it, right? So for all of this fabric, they did not count the section that had the hole. So I think I got this for maybe like half a yard, or, you know, like 3/4 of a yard or something like that, or 1 yard, when really it's almost like 2 yards of fabric just with a giant hole in the center. And that was awesome because I can obviously cut right around that for my daughter. She's only 2.5, so I can still make quite a few garments out of that. I loved this tie-dye mainly because of all of the dark colors, and in this one, similar to the last one, there was like a huge, an even bigger sort of hole right in the center of it. So again, they didn't charge me much at all, and yeah, this is a much bigger hole. And I figured, you know, for anyone else who might see this who would be trying to make something for themselves or wouldn't be able to use it, so I felt really good about getting this out of their hands and into a home where I could actually make use of it. So really excited to make my daughter some things out of these 3 French terries for the cooler months that we're in right now. All right, so for the other knits for myself, I found this amazing green. Please tell me, as you're looking at this, do you know what kind of fabric this is? It has almost like a suede-y texture, if you will, right? And it's super stretchy. It has great recovery in the stretch. So I absolutely loved it. I think I got 2 yards of it, 2 yards. And I really love this particular shade of green. So much so that when I saw this rib knit, which is a wider rib, definitely nice for like a nice turtleneck, quarter sleeve, or full long sleeve, I got, I think maybe a yard. Is this 1 yard? Yeah, I think this is 1 yard of this. That's all that was available. Otherwise, I would have definitely gotten more. But I figured if I needed to add something onto it, like cuffs, I could probably use this because they go together so well. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna make out of this, but I saw the color and definitely knew that I could not pass it up. So this came home with me as well. I love all the flecks. Do you see like how it like shimmers almost? I love it. Then I came across this color. This chestnut color on my skin is like glorious. And with the collections that I'm planning to make, I see this color kind of pop up quite a bit. It's a color that I gravitate towards often, and I absolutely love it. It's a nice neutral sort of for me. It's almost like in the burnt orange family, but leaning more towards brown. I don't know if it's capturing it. And it's very similar, if not the same sort of rib as this, where you have just that bit of sort of glimmer or shimmer to it. This, I think I also got maybe about a yard of it. I'm hoping to get a really nice sort of turtleneck out of it. It is cutting it close because it is a yard plus this extra, but since it's, you know, cut on the diagonal, it might be limiting what I can actually make. But I saw the color, knew I had to have it, so this also came into my stash. When you look at this, like this teal color with the variegated sort of coloring in there. Again, I think these might be from like the same place. I don't know what retailer, but it's gorgeous. I love the really deep sort of navy flecks that you get in there, and then some of the highlights throughout. It's absolutely gorgeous. On the bottom, I don't know how or why, but it has like these holes in it. Very, very well done. Like, I don't know what it's there for, but almost as if like it was hanging on something, that it needed these like holes throughout. So again, they didn't charge me for like this very edge part, but there's quite a bit of fabric here. I think I ended up getting about 3 yards of this fabric, and I would love to make like some sort of coordinated set, like a nice cardigan with like a fitted maxi dress or midi length dress out of it. And then the last of the knits from this particular trip was this gorgeous black sort of almost pleated fabric. It's gorgeous. And at the ends, it's already sort of, it's not hemmed, but they like pressed it in, folded over twice. So, you know, it's already hemmed for you, which I love. And I think I ended up getting maybe 4 yards of this. All of these, again, were in that $2.97 section. So really great bargain for fabric of this quality. The recovery, again, so beautiful. I'm thinking about doing either a duster or, again, like a matching set, like a duster and a dress. I already have an idea about hacking one of the simplicity patterns that I recently made, the dress version, and using these pleats to like do an interesting detail. So I'm very excited about working with this. I also picked up a number of wovens, and this one caught my eye immediately. It's a crinkled rayon, and it's in a color that I absolutely love. Like this maroon color, this in between burgundy and brown, is a love of mine. And I don't know if the camera is picking it up as well. There you go. There was a huge like cut in it at a diagonal. So they were super generous and didn't charge me for this entire length from this section all the way down because it was cut into, but I can still absolutely use all of this, right? Especially if I'm making something that has like a tie or is cut on the diagonal. I think I ended up getting maybe 3 yards of this, not including that excess that they gave me. It's absolutely beautiful and floaty and just dreamy. And I love the crinkled texture of this because it's a natural fiber like rayon, or I think it would be great year round. And I love this color. Next, I picked up another rayon fabric, and this one I couldn't leave. Look at how gorgeous these colors are. This is absolutely something for spring and summer, but it was available then, and in that $2.97 section, you do not pass things up when you see it because you won't see it again. This was another one. I mean, I keep saying this, but like oftentimes you'll find you know, complete pieces, but I found so many like cut into pieces just on the edges, right? So this is another one where it was cut sort of on a diagonal. So again, super generous. They didn't charge me for all of this over here, right? And then I like was peeking, hoping that I found more because I know I want this to be a dress for the spring and summer. And luckily I found another solid piece. I think here maybe there was 2 yards. So in total I have about 3 yards and some, and I'm really, really excited about it. So I cannot wait to make something out of this. Like these palm leaves are just so gorgeous in this like blush color, this amazing orange, and these deep green tones scream my name. Then I saw this washed linen, sand washed linen fabric in this slate gray, like a beautiful gray color. Now, I don't wear a lot of gray. I don't really think it's my color, so I should have probably left this when I saw it, but I brought it. I think it's a yard or just a little bit under a yard. I just love the sand wash texture of it. Like, do you see how textured that is? It's gorgeous. So I'm working on a Zimmerman inspired dress. So I've just been collecting linens as I find them. Unfortunately, the other linens that I have are just regular linens, not sand washed. So the textures actually don't go together as well. So I won't be using this in that dress, but now that I have it, I'm hoping to find a really great use for it. So again, about 1 yard of this. Moving on, I saw this fabric and I couldn't leave it. A part of me in my mind's eye knows that this is meant to be lining. Like, I have a really strong and deep feeling that this is like a lining material. And yet the other part of me doesn't want me to know that. Like, I don't want to think of this as a lining, because I saw this and immediately thought of like a Reformation inspired dress. Like, that's what I want out of this. Tons of ruffles. That's what I want. And it's so light. Like, this I think is about maybe 4 yards of fabric. Is that what I got? 4 or 3 yards of fabric. And it's so thin. Again, it could be a lining, but should that make me care? Like, should I not make a dress out of this because it's lining? I just love the two tones in this, like this caramel color and this peachy pink with the little dots inside. It's so gorgeous. And that sheen and the drape and the drama. So this is the reverse. So it's not completely the same, but at least it's not like a stark difference, like a stark white, which I often hate, which allows me, would give me the opportunity to do things with like frills and ruffles, because at least if you saw the inside, it wouldn't be so distracting. Next up, I saw this, like, I kept it out and I was like, can you get this? It's just so darling to me. I love the really, really tiny like leaf print in here. It's gorgeous. It's so silky and the drape is magnificent. The back again is not like that stark contrast or like white. So I like that. I think I got, okay, maybe 2.5, maybe 2.5. I got whatever was left. I know that. It's just so floaty and fun. And I think this could be like a nice fall dress. And of course, because it's so light, I would probably line it, but the colors just scream fall. And I'm really excited about it. So next up, I saw this cotton voile and I could not leave it behind. It's this really, really small gingham print in navy and white, and it's just darling. The cotton voile, like, it's like scrunchy, it's gorgeous, and I absolutely love it. This was also cut into, so there was like tons of it that I got that I wasn't charged for, because it was just like a big gash in it, as you can see. So like all of this, they kind of let me have. I think I might have paid for about 2 yards or 2.5 yards of this. I have had an experience already working with cotton voile from some Mood fabric that I picked up this year for my birthday. And cotton voile for me is not a bottom weight. Like, I wouldn't want to necessarily make a full dress out of it. And honestly, I don't think 2 or 2.5 yards is enough to do so out of a cotton voile. What I think this would be gorgeous as a beautiful top, I'm thinking a wrap top, but I will figure out a top that has really dramatic big sleeves so I could use up as much of this fabric as possible. And I think that's what I'm gonna go with. I love it. I love it so much. The baby gingham print and this beautiful, so light and airy cotton voile. Can you tell I was in a navy mood? Navy is like my dark neutral of choice. I love it. There was this cotton sateen, guys. Stretch cotton sateen for $2.97 a yard. I was not gonna pass it up. It's beautiful. It has a decent amount of give to it, right? And navy is just my color. I have so many things that I could pair this with at the top. I could see this as, you know, like a pair of bottoms, maybe some nice trousers. So I was really excited to get this. And yeah, can't wait to make something out of it. To round out my navy obsession, I found another sand-washed linen, and this gorgeous navy, like, it's so beautiful and textured. And I haven't worked with a lot of linen. I have some in my stash that I can't wait to like get into, but it's almost like, you see how it like, you see it in the light? It's so gorgeous. So I'm really excited about this for the summer, and I'm thinking like this gingham top with these as bottoms would be gorgeous together. So cannot wait to make some trousers out of this. I think I got maybe 3 yards of this because I was like, it's sand-washed linen for $2.97. I think you need to get as much as you can reasonably account for. So I figured 3 yards would probably be enough for me to get maybe 2 bottoms out of, at least 1 good pair of trousers, and then like some culottes or something, you know? So very excited about this. Then finally, on that particular day, I picked up this navy corduroy. Look at this. It's like these are called whales, right? So like a micro whale. I don't know. Is the light doing what it's supposed to? Like, it's so scrumptious. Now, I'm guilty. I fold a lot of my corduroys or store them folded. And I've been recently listening to quite a few like sewing podcasts. And one of the things that they talked about as far as like storing fabrics and different types that require special storage, and they mention like velvets and corduroys and that you shouldn't fold them because they get these creases in them that are really hard to let out. So I am going to like not do that because I am starting to see some difference. So I am instead going to hang this in on a hanger and put it in my closet along with some of the other corduroys that I have. But that was the last of the fabrics that I picked up during the Thanksgiving sale. All right, so this is my collective G Street fabric haul of all of the fabrics that I was about to put away and recognize that I never showed you guys. So here we start. This is such a beautiful like chestnutty tan camel, I would say camel colored woven fabric. I wish I could tell you exactly what the composition of this is. It's probably like a poly crepe of some sort because it has a bit of texture to it. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's gorgeous. I'm not going to say it's see-through, but it's definitely not the most opaque thing I've ever seen. But I absolutely believe I got about 2 yards of it, and it's definitely going to be a top. I want to use as much of the fabric as possible. Next up, I had found this amazing, I don't know what kind of blue shade you would call this. If you know, let me know in the comments down below, but it's glorious. It almost has like a slight texture to it, right? It's not completely, while it is like smooth to the touch because it's sort of like a satin, sort of like a charmeuse, if you will, because it's definitely lighter than satin, but it's just glorious. I love the sheen on this. I would love for this to be a dress that has a tie front in some way. I think that would allow sort of these colors, like if it wrapped over in the front like this, it would allow these colors and all of that to really show beautifully. I think I got about 2 yards of this. Sorry, about 3 yards of this. And this is from G Street Fabric. Both of these actually, many of them also that you'll see in this, were from the $2.97 section. Their little like dead stock clearance section. All right, then I got 2 items actually from like their floor, like their showroom, and these were in the polyester sections. You might have seen this fabric before. It's in my intro video on here, and I picked up this fabric the first time back in January of 2021, and I fell in love with the large floral print on this dark background, and I still love it till this day. Have yet to make something with it, but have so many plans for it. I recently picked up my first ever indie pattern, the Sicily slip dress, and I thought this would look gorgeous in it because I think for a slip dress, I think I would be most comfortable with it in a print so that it wasn't as showy, if you will. I think a really solid color like this might show a lot of things, and I think as an intro, I would love to see it in a print. So I picked up even more of it. So in total, I think I've purchased it back in January, then I got some more. I got like 2 yards more, and then I got 2 yards more. So I think in total, I now have 6 yards of this print. And I mean, I can't say that I won't go back for more. I love it. And Sean from Kittenish Behavior has shown me that it is okay to love a print so much that you get a ton of it. She's currently working on a collection of the Savannah print, and I'm actually like, yeah, you know what? If you love it and you're actually gonna wear it, get it. So that was why I included this, because I have purchased more. Next up is this. I would consider this like an animal print, right? It's like animal print adjacent, and I absolutely love it. So it has this navy background with these tans and this deep sort of, what would you, like a burnt sienna sort of color. I love it. I absolutely adore it. And I remember, like, I've passed this fabric so much at G Street in their polyester, like the rolls that you just see out on the floor. And I thought about it, and then I picked up a different sort of animal print once. And then I went back and I was like, this is actually the one that you want. Like, I wear these colors. I wear navy so often. It's gonna be gorgeous. I bought 4 yards of it. That's the most I've ever had cut out of like their on the floor fabrics. So you could tell I really liked it. I was intending to make the Sicily slip dress out of this actually. And I think that's why I bought 4 yards, because I knew it's cut on the bias and I didn't know how much fabric would be needed for something cut on the bias. So I just went a little bit heavy-handed with that purchase, but very, very happy with this. And if I can make 2 things out of it, why not? On one of the days when I went to G Street, in their $2.97 section, I could tell that whatever designer or area that they recently got stock from, because often that area is dead stock fabric, they must have been activewear and swimwear, because I think this is slimwear lycra. So this is the back of it and this is the front. Really, really stretchy in both, you know, in like 4-way stretch. And I think I wanted to convince myself that I could make like a regular everyday wear dress out of this, because I loved the print so much. Like, all of these colors are so me. And as I was cutting it, I remember one of the representatives who was helping someone else talk about like, oh yeah, there's swim, you know, we have swim fabrics in that room and yada yada. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's swimwear fabric. But it was too late. It was too late. I think I had already cut mine and I was like, well, I guess it's swim fabric. I fell in love with this because it's like double-sided. You have this brown and white polka dot, and on the reverse you have this like more sienna colored and white polka dot. And I was like, what? There's no wrong side. And I loved it. So I was gonna do like a large ruffle so you can see both sides of it. And then I was like, oh gosh, it's swimwear fabric. I have never made swimwear or activewear actually, but I figured, well, I got the fabric now for it if I ever want to. Let me show you some of the knits that I've picked up. Again, this wasn't all in one go or in one visit. This has just been over time, really in like the early fall. And I noticed as I was getting ready to pack them that somehow these never made it onto the channel. So there is this gorgeous olive green, sort of like an army green color. That's just the most gorgeous feeling knit that I've experienced. It's so tightly woven, so you can kind of see like a very fine, I wouldn't even call that ribbing, it's just that it's a knit. And it has great recovery, almost like a light ponte. It's not thick enough, I think, to be a ponte, but definitely in that wheelhouse, right? Like, I can make something that has a bit more structure to it. I wouldn't make bottoms out of it, but definitely like a really nice dress. I think I picked up, well, this feels heavy, so maybe 3 to 4 yards of it, and I'm really excited. I actually have it in my sewing space right now because I plan to make something within this like collection that I'm working on. So just wanted to bring that over because I had never formally welcomed it onto the page. Now, another time I went, I saw this amazing sort of like textured knit. I wouldn't necessarily say it's pleated, but I mean, look at that. I'm so into the like pleats please and all of these really textured designs. That's such an amazing element, and I'm glad that it's having a moment right now, but it's always something that I appreciate. Here's the back of it so you can kind of see how those pleats were kind of worked in. And so I only have about 1.5 yards of this fabric, so it's been irking me to figure out what I can actually make. I'm not sure yet, but this is in the stash for now. Another knit that I have is this really nice sort of like off-white and black striped knit, and I think it's just great for like a really nice turtleneck. It has a 2-way stretch, so it doesn't really stretch in the other direction, but really nice and lightweight for a nice turtleneck that could be like all seasons. And I could see this with so many things in my wardrobe, even something as bold as this. So imagine this as a skirt and wearing this on top as a like top. Might not be for everyone, like mixing all of that sort of print, but I could definitely see myself doing that because it picks up this tan that's right here and the black. All right, so this is like the heaviest fabric that I own in my stash. Look at that. There's about 4 yards in here and it is thick. When I saw this in G Street in their $2.97 section, I couldn't pass it up. I couldn't. because of how thick it was. This is the inside. It's like brushed and fleecy and amazing. And it's such a really thick and substantial knit. I want to make like a coatigan. I want to make a coatigan out of this, something that I can wear and layer over some of my other makes. I actually have a pair of boots that are this color, so I figure if I get this made up, I can wear those boots with it and it would always look really well together, really nice. There's a simplicity pattern I have in mind to make a coatigan. So I can even see if I made a dress out of this or something that it could kind of go with this. There is another fabric that I got that I think would be even a better match to this, but again, I could see this kind of being a workhorse, and it would give me so much more space in my stash because, like I mentioned, it's thick, and every time I try to pack it somewhere, it like takes up the entire bin or compartment wherever it's saved. So I would really like to get this made up maybe this winter so that I can, one, enjoy it, but also get some of that space back. When I saw this like teal color, I couldn't pass it up. It's like leaning more on the, no, it is definitely teal. I was gonna say leaning more on the blue side of teal, but it's certainly teal. And I absolutely adore it. I recently picked up, more recently, like this fabric from G Street as well. And like, look at them together. They're gorgeous. So if I made like, let's say a cardigan out of this, it's quite like floaty, even though it's thick and spongy. But I could pair these together as well. I think I picked up 3 yards of this, and my idea was that I could make athleisure wear, like just lounging wear for the house, because it is probably some of the softest fabric that you've ever felt. It's gorgeous, and I love the color, and I think this as a set would be lovely. But I also now have so many fabrics that have this sort of teal color in it that I would love to see it as either some sort of like cardigan or, you know, like a topper, like a layer that I can wear over some of my other garments. And I just think it's so gorgeous. This navy sort of knit, oh my gosh, like this one on the back sort of has a sort of looping to it. It's not necessarily a French terry, I don't think. And it definitely has like what feels like a nylon sort of content to it. I'm not sure. But here's the front of it, and it's just amazing. It reminds me of some of the like athleisure loungewear that I have and some that my husband have, but it's so soft and I love it. So I think the navy is so basic and, you know, would just go with anything. I could also see this as a nice cardigan again, just because it has a really nice body and a nice weight to it. So it could be so many different things. I think I have 3 yards of it and I haven't decided yet what to make, but I love it. And we have it whenever the inspiration strikes, as it will. And then finally, what I have to show you in this sort of collective haul is this gorgeous, like velvety fabric. This is the backing of it. So seems like it would be a dream to like sew with, but also a nightmare because I've never sewn with velvet type fabric before. And I know that from my podcast listening that there's a special way you have to iron it and be careful about, you know, storing it so you don't get creases in it and things like that. So I will also be hanging this in my closet instead of folding it and having it crushed. Like I don't want the nap of it to get crushed, but I loved this color. Initially I purchased it to like pair it with a dress that I had made from some fabric that I got at Joann's. So this is that fabric, and I thought that these two would go together really well because I was thinking about using the extra fabric that I have of this, which is right here, and like pairing them together and making some sort of cardigan. But with this being like a really stretchy material, lots of stretch, and this one, while it does have some give, I think in this direction, it's definitely not that stretchy, and it's more structured. So I thought it would actually weigh this down quite a bit, and I've decided against that idea. So instead, I think I was thinking about making this into like a moto jacket, but upon further investigation of my actual wardrobe, while I think it would absolutely go with this fabric, like this was the fabric I was talking about, I think it's like a perfect match. to this beautiful warm color here. I don't actually know a lot of other garments that I have in my closet or other fabrics in my stash that would pair as well with this as a topper, if this were a topper, you know? That was the last of the fabrics that I picked up, and I am just so smitten with all of the fabrics that I picked up. I think I made some really amazing choices as far as, you know, like content of the fabric, really looking for natural fibers where and when I could, and making use of really good like color coordinated sets and choices. So I'm really excited about that. And I think the more that I continue to shop, the more I'm starting to see myself be a bit more discerning, because every time I go to the fabric store, I'm finding that there was maybe a fabric that I pick up now that outweighs or beats out something else that I'd previously bought that maybe I thought, oh, well, I might as well get it. So that's teaching me that really I don't need to settle when I'm buying fabrics, right? Like, get the one that you absolutely want, because there will always be more fabrics, as they say. And I absolutely believe that to be true. So I don't want to settle anymore. I will definitely be more mindful of the things that I get so that my stash is more curated and beautiful and actually useful to me, you know? So really, really looking forward to that. Well, friends, that's all for me today. It's a lot, I know. Unfortunately, when I'm in that section, I kind of lose a bit of control, but also I'm thinking, if you look at the stash, I would absolutely buy any of these. You know, I usually don't buy regular, like full price, ever, but I would definitely pay more than $2.97 for them. I mean, the cotton sateens that I picked up from Mood Fabrics were $9.99 a yard, and this is $2.97 a yard. So do I think I made good choices? Absolutely. And if I had the choice, I would definitely do it again. I just know that I need to start using my fabric, right? So that I can start getting some of these made up and worn and in my closet and out of my stash. But really excited, might be doing some of my daughter's things just to kind of use those up. And think of all of the like heavier weight fabrics that are in my stash that could also be used up, so I don't have to keep storing them. All right, bye-bye for now. Stay creative. Bye.